If you're an artist, you probably know what it's like to feel a bit different than the people around you. Maybe you notice tiny details that no one else sees, like the subtle variations of color in the petals of a flower. Or you get so caught up in daydreams that you lose track of what's happening around you. But did you know that it's not all in your head? Well, technically it is, because science has shown that artists' brains really are different than the brains of non-artists. And these differences are actually your superpowers. In this video, we'll talk about these differences and how you can use them to your advantage to live a life that is fully you. Before we dive in, I just want to say that I'm an artist. I'm not a trained scientist, but I've been obsessed with neuroscience and the biology of why we are the way we are for most of my adult life. My way of nerding out before bed is to read science books on my Kindle. So this video is the result of decades of trying to understand my own artist brain better. To keep things short and easy, I've had to simplify some concepts, so see below for links to studies and further reading. Let's start by marveling at your magnificent brain. It goes everywhere you go and influences everything you see, think, and feel. Picture your brain. It's locked inside your skull in complete darkness. Your brain doesn't actually see or hear anything. But through the magic of your senses, the outside world gets transformed into a wild symphony of electrochemical signals. Colors are just waves of light dancing into your eyes. Sounds are invisible waves that crash through the air into your ears. And those delicious smells and tasty flavors of your favorite dessert, pulled fresh from the oven, those sensations are caused by little chemicals dancing on your nose and tongue. All day long, your brain decodes these electrical and chemical signals that are coming at you from all directions, turning them into the rich tapestry of life that you experience as the world around you. Your brain is made up of tiny little nerve cells called neurons. And you've got a lot of them, around 86 billion. And your 86 billion neurons talk to each other all the time. At any given moment, your neurons are firing like crazy, constantly sending info back and forth across your brain. Each neuron makes anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 connections with other neurons. So that means that your neurons make over 100 trillion connections inside your brain, which is more than all the stars in our galaxy, all twinkling inside your head, even when you're sleeping. Now here's how that relates to artists. Different parts of your brain specialize in different things, from decision-making to memory to making sense of the world around you. And these different parts of your brain communicate with each other all the time to process information, resulting in the unique experience of what it feels like to be you. Brain scans reveal that artists have better connectivity between different brain regions, and this helps you make your art. It's like there's a high-speed train running between your emotional center and your sensory hub, and between your visual center and your command center. And these super-fast connections enhance your creativity, so you notice things in more vivid and nuanced detail than most other people. This advanced perception helps artists turn what they see and feel into works of art. Now let's talk about size. Another cool thing about your artist's brain is that some areas are thicker and more developed than in non-artists. For example, your prefrontal cortex lights up during creative thinking. Certain areas of your parietal lobe start buzzing as you process your sensory experiences. Your precuneus gets an excellent workout as you visualize and play with ideas in your mind. And your visual powerhouse, the inferior temporal gyrus, comes alive as you analyze complex images and patterns. MRI scans show that these brain regions are often thicker or more developed in artists versus non-artists. So that means your creative thinking skills are off the charts. You're better at visualizing things that don't exist and at visually analyzing the things that do. But interestingly, the corpus callosum is often smaller. The corpus callosum is the thick bundle of nerves connecting both hemispheres of your brain. And it acts like an information superhighway as signals are constantly sent back and forth between both sides of your brain. But with a smaller corpus callosum, each side of the brain is more specialized, which means they don't interrupt each other as much as they do in a non-artist brain. So with less interference, your creative juices flow more smoothly, allowing you to dive deeper into your artwork. You could say it's kind of like having two high-powered mini brains that work together in your head to create amazing art. And it's not just brain size that differs in artists versus non-artists, it's also brain waves. As your neurons talk to each other, they create tiny electrical impulses that combine to form rhythms based on what you're thinking, doing, and how you're feeling. These patterns look like waves when measured with an EEG. All throughout the day and night, your brain seamlessly toggles between 5 main types of brain waves, switching between them like a lightning-fast remote to match the flow of your every action and thought. Using EEGs, scientists have examined the brainwaves of artists versus non-artists and found that artists exhibit higher alpha and theta wave activity when engaging in creative tasks. This means that when you're in the creative flow, your brain is producing more of these chill waves than a non-artist brain. You're calm, relaxed, and focused as you dive deep into your inner well of inspiration, exploring different concepts and possibilities. You're in touch with your subconscious, where novel ideas and connections can bubble up to the surface. Being in this state of mind gives you a creative edge over non-artists because creativity feels almost effortless. Things just come to you and you run with it. Plus, higher alpha and theta waves can lower anxiety and silence your inner critic, letting your creativity soar. Although artists can access these states of mind more easily than non-artists, the really cool thing is that anyone can learn to cultivate these flow states so they come more naturally. We'll talk about how to do that later in this video. Speaking of chill vibes, there's actually an entire network in your brain devoted to zoning out. It's called the default mode network. When it's activated, you're usually daydreaming, just letting your mind wander like clouds floating across the sky on a sunny day. Your brain is on autopilot as thoughts and feelings arise and fall. You might be self-reflective or thinking about other people, pondering the past or envisioning the future as you imagine different scenarios that might occur. As pleasant as this state can be, sometimes you do have to get things done. That's when your executive control network kicks in, when you need to concentrate on a task, solve problems, make decisions, or plan a project. Your executive control network helps you focus and stay on track. So think of your default mode network as like your playroom. And the executive control network is like your office. In the brains of artists, these two networks often co-activate. You can easily meander from the playroom to the office and back. This makes you an expert at creative problem solving because you generate lots of ideas in your brain's playroom, then quickly refine them in your brain's office. On the other hand, most non-artists take longer to switch back and forth between these two very different states of being, so they're usually in one mode or the other. So what gives artists the ability to switch so quickly between dreaming and doing? Well, we mentioned the precuneus a few minutes ago. Your precuneus plays a central role in your default mode network, so it gets a mega workout every time you imagine, visualize, and reflect. The more you do it, the more efficient your precuneus becomes, creating an enhanced connection between your default mode network and your executive control network. This allows you to spontaneously switch back and forth between them as you dream up ideas and bring them to life in your creative process. And the really awesome thing is that we can actually cultivate all of these blissful brain states that we've been talking about. And those bigger, more developed brain parts, we can grow those too. Your brain isn't a muscle, but it can grow stronger in a sense thanks to neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. When you dedicate yourself to making art, as you continually learn and create and practice your craft, you're using certain parts of your brain over and over. This means those neurons are firing and wiring together, creating even more dense connections. This is called neuroplasticity. And this is why the more you make art and engage in creative problem solving, the better you get at it. Neurogenesis, on the other hand, is when your brain actually creates new neurons. For the longest time, scientists thought that we were born with all of the neurons that we would ever have, and that we could never create new ones. So when they're gone, they're gone. And now, thanks to research, we know that our brains can create new neurons throughout our entire lives in a process called neurogenesis. When we're adults, neurogenesis mostly happens in the hippocampus, your brain's memory and learning center. Studies have shown that mental stimulation engages your brain and helps encourage the growth of new brain cells. While there aren't many studies that directly link making art with neurogenesis, there is plenty of evidence suggesting that making art can create the right environment for neurogenesis. This means that as you create, you're helping your brain by improving your cognition, supporting mental health, and lowering stress hormones, all of which are conducive to the potential growth of new brain cells. Imagine your brain as a lush garden. Every time you learn something new or immerse yourself in a creative project, you're planting new seeds and nurturing them to grow. These seeds are your brain's new neurons and connections, which blossom into a richer, more vibrant network thanks to neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. So now you've learned all about how your artist brain is packed with all these incredible features. The next question is, what do you do with all this information? Well, knowing how your brain works can help you understand your unique strengths. These are your superpowers that you'll use every time you make art or even in your everyday life when you need to solve problems or come up with new ideas. The best way to cultivate your artist brain is to make art a regular practice. If you can do it daily, then definitely go for it. The more you engage in creative activities, the more you strengthen your neural connections and cultivate those blissful brain states. Keeping a sketchbook and trying new mediums or styles is the perfect way to challenge your brain and spark new ideas. Let me know in the comments below what kind of things you do to help keep things fresh in your art. I'd love for us to share ideas about how to keep your art practice engaging and stimulating. And if you don't have time to make art every day, and let's be honest, most of us probably don't, then there are other activities that can help keep your mind flexible, open, and curious, such as learning new things, reading, watching documentaries, or simply going to new places and immersing yourself in new experiences. And don't forget the power of mindfulness and meditation, so you can induce those calming brain waves that are so helpful to creativity. Remember, you can be mindful anywhere, whether it's on your commute, in between classes at school, or while washing the dishes. It's just a matter of turning off your screens or your podcasts and simply watching the contents of your mind in a non-judgmental way. And one really easy thing you can do is allow yourself time to daydream and reflect. When you let your mind wander, your default mode network can send you down the most unexpected creative detours that are absolutely worth exploring. And this is another reason why keeping a sketchbook nearby is such a powerful habit for artists, because you can scribble down these ideas as quickly as they come and then flesh them out later when you have more time. And the most important takeaway is to just embrace these aspects of your personality that make you you. Everyone has a unique perspective, and as an artist, you have this amazing ability to share your inner world with other people. So keep making art, keep growing and learning, and never stop exploring and expressing what you find and feel along the way. It can also be really inspiring to explore a passion project that really has no purpose other than you want to do it. That's what I did when I spent over 50 hours painting this life-size papier-mâché llama. If you want to see how it all came together from start to finish, check out my llama video. See you there!